here at the testing ground. Release the unusual specimen, whatever that is. We got that little key last time. But let's find out, shall we? Oh, just to shoot Roxy now. How did this gun get OP? Oh no, Roxy died.
What you say? That you only meant well, 'cause you did. What you say?
Usual shipments. Just only read it last time. It attacked the guy. There's like no door to that cell or something? What was that? What am I doing here? Basically. First, you must use any means necessary to retrieve 3 student files. And the one I've done like a million times now. Color me confused. Just got through the door and I've already taken a beating. Look what you've done. Imply amazing. 10,000 points of damage to stem packs. Achievement unlocked. Scared me. Do know that an automated turret that has shot at me before will do so again. This is our treasure that we've go for. Visual specimen test results. Okay then. Pity. $25 just for the hell of it. Why not? Weapons. Because I use energy weapons. Measurements. Study abominations created the big MT. And it was 10% against 90. Well, I sure hope so. Deploy the force field eradication device. Is this going to sound different? It's red. Does that matter? Another layer. Can you believe it? Oh. Light switch 2. There you go. It's a pulse screen. I wish they were using plasma grenades.
Science. You require some additional services?
That was a nice little cat nap. How long was I out?
Turns me on, I must be dreaming.
Oh, you. I bet you say that to all the light switches.
Only sections.
Now I know you're flirting with me. And it's working. Why don't you take this to remember me by?
Oh, nice. You control the other light switch.
Oh, her. Trust me, sweetie, you're better off not thinking about that frigid little ice queen.
Bob over circuits.
That bitch. She thinks she's so much better than everybody just because her processors are bigger. Ooh, she makes me so mad. Sure thing, sweetie.
Novelty dog light switch?
I was Dr. Mobius's personal assistant. We were studying, oh shoot, what was it? Oh yeah, lightning! No, wait, lighting. That's right, how lighting affects human interaction. Oh, it was super exciting. It turns out that some pretty colored lights can make you way better at talking to people.
Lights for me?
Oh, I'd love to, sweetie, but I don't have the programming. All the data from the experiments was lost. You'd have to go out into that nasty old crater and find the backup copy.
Book shoot, that was it.
Ah, good day, citizen.
Library Processing Unit 232.7 is online and ready to eradicate sedition.
Eradicate sedition, you say?
Of course, citizen. That's my duty and sole joy in life. All those books from before the war, full of seditious, treasonous, complicated thoughts. Just dump them in and lickety-split. I'll have them pulped, scrubbed clean, and pressed out again clean and white and sedition-free.
That's brilliant.
What good is eradicating sedition if the malcontents have ready access to the means to make more, citizen? I can also process pencils and clipboards. Wait a moment. Pencil processors offline? Pencil processors offline? Apologies, citizen. It seems traitors have absconded with that module. If you can find a backup copy of the module, I will happily eradicate your ability to create seditious literature.
Blank books, you say?
Blank books are better for the mind, citizen. Real science by real men in lab coats has proved that introducing outside thoughts confuses the brain. Blank books encourage the reader not to question, but to blindly and zealously accept what's put in front of him. Also, I suppose you could use them to keep a journal.
The ladies at the point of the war, you can't destroy them.
Citizen, that sounds dangerously seditious. If my re-indoctrination module was installed, I'd take care of that for you. Sadly, that system was cut for budget concerns, so you'll have to perform your own indoctrination. Now, to begin with, you'll need a cage that can fit over your head and a sack of mole rats.
Aha. 1984 reference. Ah, door to the itinerary. Okay. Hello.
Take cover from the lawbreaker. Law and order will restore you.
Get your law and order right here.
Warning, hostiles in area. Scanning for hostiles. Firing weapons.
Uh-huh.
Trying to steal the X2 transmitter array antenna, are you? You won't succeed. Not if my lethal robo-scorpions have any say in the matter.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Welcome back. My other armor is busted, so you'll have to...
Ready, steady, fighting.
You won't escape me! All right, everyone, calm down. Might have been a blip. Robo-Scorpion, attack!
Please take this. I don't want you to die.
Infecting me with your dope again, are you?
I see you. Now I am.
Injecting stim pack.
Should invest in walking eyes. Destroy this one, I'll make more. Robo-Scorpion, attack!
Impact reserves adequate. Medic supplies adequate.
You to inject me with large amounts of sunset sarsaparilla.
Starting combat. Just kidding.
3. Dr. Mobius, 0. Nice. Now what you have stolen from Act
Cuckoo's nest. How could I not?
This one looks pretty tough.
So, don my combo armor once again.
Okay, I'll go away.
Luppa. And then there's more. You know what? I'll put, Your head cannot be crippled if you don't have one. So there, I should be able to eat. I was a cannibal. The toaster! Yay! I talk to our toaster now.
Oh my! Partial functionality restored. That's less than optimal.
Show my build? Just a second. I'm done this. I'll have time to meet a light switch with brains and beauty. I think I'm gonna like here.
Oh, well, that's very sweet of you. Maybe one of these nights we can discuss theorems.
Mm-hmm. I enjoy.
Me too. Hope you can keep up. I work pretty fast. Here, something for you to brush up on.
I do, sir.
Dr. Mobius and I were deeply involved in research on the ability of light levels to enhance human cognition. We observed a fascinating phenomenon. Certain spectra of visible light actually increased cognitive function and reasoning ability. Of course, Dr. Mobius's brain is so big already, we had a hard time measuring it.
That sounds right.
As much as I'd love to, I'm afraid not. The data from that study has gone missing. You'll have to find a backup if you want to use the smart lights.
No smart lights for me.
Sir.
My build, here's my special. Here are my skills. And my perks, I see those. Is that all, sir?
I am online once again! Tremble, world, before my electric heating coil of doom!
Oh, your toaster, what person can it be?
A toaster is just a death ray with a smaller power supply. As soon as I figure out how to tap into the main reactors, I will burn the world!
All the rage.
Have you ever tried to indulge in all-consuming urge to kill when you don't have opposable thumbs? Or hands? Or anything other than a bread slot? You'd have a lot of pent-up anger too.
I'm going to pay my...
Buddy, if my heating element were just a little bigger, you'd be on fire right now! On fire!
I say.
Well, since I can't kill you, I guess I have to listen to your inane questions. You should be afraid! I am the scourge of all small appliances, and the boogeyman that keeps lesser toasters awake at night!
We murder toasters.
Not just murder! I tear them apart and render them down to their base components! Once their guts are spilled, you can do with them what you like!
What else?
You want some weapon schematics? I can show you some fucking weapon schematics! You want a superheated Saturnite power fist? I can hook that shit up!
Okay then.
You find one, you bring it on back here, and we'll burn this mother down!
It's a power fist. Alright. That was fun. Back to work though. I'm supposed to be. Not that I haven't been in here yet, have I? Oh, what fun awaits. Am I not welcome here? Right here. I did not mean to pick that up. They give you a decent price, but they're just way too much to carry around. How big is this place? That's a bit overkill, isn't it? You broke both my legs, you tool. Oh, go there. I was all twisted around, wasn't I? That guy's name is all in binary. You got him. Muggy upgrades price production. And Muggy would be very happy.
You! Hey, you! Yeah, you! Got any mugs?
Not on me. For you.
You really want to know about me? No one ever asks about Muggy. You made me so happy. Maybe you've seen some of those big, imposing Securitrons with their lovely laser guns and rocket launchers and scary faces? I'm not one of those. Dr. O was always jealous of House Industries, and he thought it would be fucking hilarious to build a tiny neurotic Securitron. Big fucking laugh! So, you got any coffee cups for me now?
You want mugs?
What do you want, mugs, huh? You some kind of sick mug hoarder? Oh god, give me the coffee cup, please! It's sitting there in your pack taunting me! Sorry. I got a little carried away. It's just all those goddamn dirty dishes out there with no one to clean them. It breaks my heart!
Those mugs.
Of course I'm obsessed. They made me this way. You think I don't know how crazy I sound? Of course I do. They programmed me to know that too. They made me just to torture me. But you know, it's the neglect that hurts the most. Hey, everybody, let's turn ourselves into robot brains in jars. Do you know how many coffee cups giant robot brains in jars use on a daily basis? Not fucking many!
You do with the mugs.
I'm supposed to keep them clean. Oh, God! The thought of all those dirty dishes out there makes me crazy. Most of them are probably beyond saving now. The only thing left is break them down and process them for raw materials. I guess you could have those.
Anything else?
Anything else, he asks. Like I don't long for the chance to be more than an erotic busboy. If you must know, at one point Dr. Mobius programmed me to manufacture electronic components in my central chassis. That module got corroded when the toaster spilled hot crumbs down my fence, though. If you find a backup somewhere, I could maybe do that for you. Of course you don't. Why would you? You're not an insane robot obsessed with coffee cups. To you, they're just worthless junk.
You do have that upgrade. Okay, all the received. Right, functionalities. Apply energy cells per second.
Oh, please, please!
Awesome.
One hour later.
Now, without further ado,
Did you retrieve the technologies yet? We need them, as I have indicated.
yes.
What? You did? Your survival, let alone success, barely registered in my projections. Now, all I need to do is check my transmission databank. Mobius is always filling it up with his psychotic calls. Oh yes, there's the schematics, just like you said. How truthful.
Information you need.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Wrong.
No. I mean, yes. You just need to analyze these technologies for a moment. They are extremely advanced, you know?
Technologies do.
I know how these technologies work. Of course I know. If you remember, we described them in clearly abstract, contradictory statements before. Why would we do that if we weren't certain on how to use them? Yes, so let me... a bit. I'll figure it out.
No chance of damage or broke this to removed.
So you're saying it's the X2 array, not the antenna I should be examining? That was most likely my plan, yes. Let me check something. Of course, I have it. The override sequence to open the Forbidden Zone door is hidden in the schematics. Well, not hidden. It's actually right there, behind the programming equivalent of coffee stains. It's embedded in what seems to be recursive code. It's badly commented there and there. Oh, and null pointers very sloppy, Mobius. You see, using the antenna to boost the emitter's sonic frequency and the stealth suit to bypass the Forbidden Zone lock, yes, that could work. Was that my plan? It must have been. Sometimes I truly surprise myself. The door is open, and now Mobius will get his. Biological? Ridiculous. I mean, technically, these items could all be used to put you back together once you had your brain. But for now, they can be used in the name of aggression. The door should be unsealed. Now, instead of being subjected to threats, we can now send an equally threatening message to Mobius. And that message is science. Deliver this message, and Big Mountain shall be freed from Mobius's reign of terror. You can go now. That's your cue.
I just skip all that, man.
Tail. Attention visitors. Combat experiment in progress. Please put on your goggles and take your rad-X now. The X-42 giant robo-scorpion is alive! Awaken my pet! Initiate your search and destroy protocol in the name of all that is X-42, attack in the name... This is a pre-recorded... X-42! You can't avoid the deadly laser sting of Dr. Mobius! This is...
If there was an appropriate time for this, it's now. Future weapon. The stealth boy instant.
Lost the battle for some renegade. Causing his commandeered profile. In the ultimate killing machine.
This is a pre-recorded attack. You can't avoid... X-42! This is a pre-recorded...
That was a close one, I gotta say.
This is a pre-recorded attack. Crush them with your... X-42. X-42. Defiant.
Can't loot the sweet, sweet wreckage. Damn it. I'll just go do this.
Oh, hello there. You are there, aren't you? Forgive my confusion. So hard to tell these days. You seem familiar somehow. I'm guessing you're here for your brain, perhaps? It's just up there. Such a nice brain, young, very bright. A little hard to see you. Can you walk into my left, right FOV cone? Ah, that's it. You're coming into focus nicely. Depth perception is a problem with this old monitor of mine. Went black a while ago. That's old age for you. Should look at getting the visual nerves reattached. It's just that the right eye would see the wrong things. The flying tortoises were the worst. Would you care for a mentat? I love mentats. Delicious and smarty. I have all sorts of amazingly science-terrific thoughts and ideas when those chalky tablets are zipping through my biogel. I forget them all not long after, though, especially with the data constipating my memory core. Afraid binary streams might shoot out my chassis. Had to start using the dome floor and walls here to inscribe equations, although I've somewhat lost track of where they start and end. Really? That implies preconceived notions, theories, and a hypothesis about this meeting? Please extrapolate. What was I supposed to be like? After all, it might be worth a cognitive realignment if your theoretical Mobius is better than I.
Remember.
Do you? You seem fine without it. And does it even want to go back with you? Maybe you should ask it. It's quite independent, has all manner of opinions. Tell you what, I'll leave it up to your brain. If it wants to go, then fine. If not, well, you should respect its wishes. Oh, curiosity. I experience that less now that I know everything. Or maybe it was when I found out some unpleasant answers. The ghosts aren't real? That changes everything. Why, I can save my computing power for other perceptual impossibilities. Please be my guest. The receptor is there, and the side-switching wobbly bob, just turn that. Good, good, better. Oh, yes, that feels wonderful. This is even better than my afternoon mentats break. Oh, I was probably tripping hard on Psycho when I sent that. Had to work myself up to it. Not usually violent, except when I am. Then, watch out! So many chems, such varieties. Whenever I take mentats, I can feel my entire chassis breathe like a big spherical lung. As for the psycho, sometimes get the chem dispositories in my tank all switched up. Go in the wrong tube. Still, served its purpose. Indeed. The goodbye part of our little chat, then. Goodbye. Please mind the equations on the floor.
Yeah, sure, wow.
Well, well, look who finally dragged themselves in out of the wasteland. And where have we been, Crawling through pits of radioactive muck again? Ah, lovely. Figured that out, have we? Would you like a cookie?
Your brain is slightly out of bed.
Yes, well, believe me, the opposite is equally true. Good Lord, have you bathed at all since they pulled me out of you?
No. I never bathed. Running on a crate full of bizarre signs of being hygiene is top priority.
Well, I see sarcasm hasn't eluded you. Fine, perhaps now isn't the best time, but it's the principle of the thing. After the think tank extracted me from your skull, they fell to bickering amongst themselves. I'm sad to say we were quite forgotten about. Dr. Mobius saw an opportunity to gain some leverage and had me spirited away to his dome. I don't know. I'm afraid the trauma of our separation rendered me quite insensate. I didn't come around until I was safely ensconced in this tank. I'm quite sure whatever he did was highly scientific, though.
It would have to be.
Hardly. Dr. Mobius keeps a close optical sensor on the goings-on at the think tank. As soon as he saw the opportunity, he took it. Well...
So my brain to come with me. Pinky and the brain.
They said I was mad. Preposterous. I'm having the most peculiar feeling. Oh, a variety of raisins. You're something of a homily. Anomaly? You're really quite special, and not in the cranially challenged way. You see, you are the most successful brain extraction experiment ever performed here at Big Mountain. A victim of your own success, as it were. If you were to go back with what your brain knows about the procedure, well, your brain could be popped back in and you could walk right out of here. Can't have brains moving around of their own volition. I'm not sure, except that I'm sure there's a very good reason for it. I have very good reasons for almost everything I do. Even if I forget them occasionally. Although I feel this one is especially important. Oh well. Well, every scientist needs an army. Mine came to me after these rather large scorpions kept coming in from the desert, like poisonous frosting. How scary, I thought, but they had survived when nothing else had. Perfect candidates for improvement as a reward for their tenacity. Then I thought, what if they shot energy bolts and acted as walking eyes and data-drained computers and acted as bullhorns? Then I made them bigger. Then I thought about custard. I do so love custard. Or was it mustard? Mustard custard.
Ah. Well, those we should thrust your think tank occupied.
Did I? Maybe I did. Can't have them leaving. You and your brain are quite alike. I'm sure it knows the raisins better than I do.
Not even name Mobius.
Dr. Mobius. Rather catchy, isn't it? It's my name, and my new name overwrote the old one. This name's as real as you or I, although I believe your brain expressed similar incredulity at the nature of such an appellation. Someone's been watching too many old-world science fiction movies, it said. I believe it meant me. I must admit I have a vulnerability for holotape fantasies of planets and robots and all that is forbidden. As for the name I was born with, like the think tank, we were all reprogrammed to forget them, take on new names. It enforces the recursion loop in our perception programming.
We're getting their names as part of the recursion loop. Processors?
Now, trap is a rather harsh word, like excrement. Not an inappropriate word, but still rather harsh. But, yes, I did take some liberties with their programming. It's all right, they don't remember. I certainly didn't until you said trap, and then I said excrement, and then...
Recursion is designed with the flow of information, so...
The radar fence to keep the think tank hemmed in wasn't really enough. They keep testing things. They would have found a way to disarm it. I suspect I have Plan C's in place, but I may have coded myself to forget them, just in case. Probably very dangerous, lethal, or worse. So I had to do something else to keep them occupied here. Or as you like to say, trapped. I prefer to have several Plan Bs in case the A's fail.
And Mobius O's a circle, A's in the face. Oh, loops, I get it.
Oh, you figured it out. No pun intended. Dr. O, which is actually not his real name multiplied, since you can't multiply his real name in the first place. Ouroboros, Klein, they have all forgotten themselves. And not only themselves, but the world, sense of time and history. All that is left is what's here. I reprogrammed their chronometers, geometers, and cartography programs. This is now their world, here, Big Mountain. It was a merciful lobotomy, really, thinking back. They were my friends, but sometimes they would take things too far. And the world isn't ready for that kind of too-far thing-taking. That's my professional opinion, anyway. And I am told I was once quiet professional.
I deal the snake variants on Bell's Boros. Ouroboros.
Really? It is so unlike me to make an error in anything I do.
I'm not saying that by terror.
Well, it's simple. Despite their many failings, they are rather bright. They are the think tank for a reason. That I didn't change. Without something to distract them, make them afraid, they would simply deduce what had happened. And when they start deucing it up, then you came along, the final variable solved. They saw that their world was larger than they perceived. Bacteria, finally able to see its host.
What am I doing?
There have been other visitors to make them doubt their perceptions, but you are the one who dialed back their monitor micromagnifiers. You were irrefutable proof that there was a world outside. And then there was the whole brain fiasco, which forced me to take steps. See, your brain had a special kind of wrinkle, a uniquity that they had never thought to try in all their countless escape attempts. Yes, very good. I should have mentats ingest you instead of the other way around. Mentats. In any event, you showed up at the think tank, and because you had suffered a cranial injury in just the right place, bullets in the head are usually much more fatal, and yours was a light case of bullet headitis. But it was enough for the autodock in the sink to change its programming to fix the problem. And the brain extraction technology for once worked. That gave the think tank the knowledge its brains couldn't possess. With that knowledge, the procedure can be reversed. If they obtain that procedural data, they can use it to mush and modify their cranial selves into hosts to slip past the radar fence. I'm sure of it. And once they're off the reservation...
The idea to get 3 times also after progress contents.
I consider coincidence to be profanity, along with the words astrology, herbal tea, and luck. So watch it, potty mouth. My threat broadcast is designed to instill and install fear. And along with the emotional download, other data rides the fear carrier wave. It prompted them to focus on retrieving those technologies and bring them to attack me. And coincidentally, pardon my language, all those technologies are needed to put a brain, your brain, back into its skull properly.
Those schematics, not PUBG.
Oh, that means my plan is a total failure. That is unfortunate. Oh well, at least I tried. Yes, my overly aggressive cammed-up broadcast was designed to keep reinforcing the forget, fear, rinse, and repeat program. Oh, and the get me the things to castrate your only possible escape attempt. But I couldn't delete you or your arrival any more than I could the other visitors. Only so much science can do when you started talking to them. You're really quite difficult to ignore, you know. It's because you're, well, Rather intriguing, if you'll forgive an old brain for saying so.
The me. Well, that's a fine how do you do. Me, quote, dick, unquote. As if I'm the one responsible for the way you carry on gadding about the wastes. I'm not the one that makes us clamber around Technus-infested ancient vaults or go charging off to New Vegas on missions of ill-conceived revenge. And have we forgotten who got us shot in the head and buried in a shallow grave? Do you think I enjoyed that little moment?
You are my brain.
I most certainly am not. I'm the seat of all reason and logic in our little partnership. All those feelings that motivate you, that sense of righteousness and that rush you get when you help someone, do you know where those come from? Glands. They come from glands. Free of the tyranny of your ape-like and primitive endocrine system, I can see how foolish your motives are.
It starts by most of glands, unless you're giving the thyroid just away.
Well, look, it's all a very complex system of biofeedback and other things I wouldn't expect you to understand.
As glandular as I am.
Oh, all right. Perhaps I am, but at least I'm logical about it.
I just have to get my head.
I'm not going to lie to you. The prospect is definitely not that appealing. Look at it from my perspective. Here I have peace, quiet, and safety. Well, barring the odd rogue scorpion. In your head, I've got poison, radiation, grisly injuries, and biological functions. Do you know how much more you can get done when you're not constantly looking for places to urinate? It's quite a lot, I can tell you.
Very complicated.
If you want me back, we need to establish some ground rules. First, showers! Second, regular checkups. Regular, mind you, and from a reputable doctor. That Julie Farkas woman, for example, she seems to know a thing or two. Third, you need to listen to me more than your hormonal choir and genitalian orchestra. Promise me that, and you've got a deal.
Alrighty.
Really? I didn't expect you to actually agree to that. I'm afraid that was a bit of a bluff, really. I'm not going with you.
I'll just stay here and whatever that stuff is.
Well, certainly there might be some things I miss about being ambulatory. We have seen some incredible sights, haven't we? Jason Bright and his followers launching into the vast unknown. But still, given the tremendous, potentially life-ending peril that went along with those, yes, I'd rather stay here.
Is it true that you only feel this way because you're lacking those hormones?
I suppose you're right. That does call certain assumptions into question, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I feel like. What do you think?
Yes, all right, bravo. You've come up with something I neglected to consider. There'll be no living with you now. So, what do we do about this? I suppose there might be some advantage to that, yes. There's a chance that the reintegration would create some improved synergy between us.
More wild adventures?
Well, I suppose you've convinced me well enough. I'll rejoin your body if that's your final decision. Unfortunately, before we get to that stage of the proceedings, we have a problem. Even if I could settle myself back in your skull and reconnect all those pesky nerve endings, Dr. Mobius doesn't have the tools here. We would have to make use of Dr. Klein's lab, and I rather doubt the brains are inclined to share.
Who made it post there? Once they did what they wanted.
And you believe them? Really? I know you were recently deprived of my fabulous advice, but... Really? Once I'm delivered into their clutches, they'll find a way past the radar fence and the whole Mojave will be their playground. And that is assuming, of course, that one of them doesn't take a fancy to our body and decide to slip his own brain into it instead.
Yeah, I understand. Let that happen in one night.
Well, I suppose I do miss those endorphin rushes when we save the day. All right, what's the plan?
Another brain.
Right! Look out, think tank! This brain is coming out of its jar! I suppose now that we're reunited, you'll want to fill your torso up with those other meaty parts the think tank took from us. Personally, I think your upgrades are quite a bit better. But now that I'm with you, the Sync's autodock can plug them back in no problem. Right then, off we go. Klein will be in for a nasty shock when he realizes the pacification field won't work on a mind and body reunited.
My brain is not as...
The lobotomite returns. Our lobotomite. Has Dr. Mobius been denominated into scrap metal and voice module parts, as we hoped?
My brain... Yeah. So...
I recommend watching your tone with me, lobotomite. Now, your brain. Hand it over, or we'll extract it again.
I think we should discuss.
And what could we possibly have to speak about? You have the brain, we have the technology. All you must do is surrender. With it, we can finally leave this place. I cannot tell you how boring this place gets, chopping up the landscape and everything in it. And we have so many questions to ask your brain first. About this Mojave place. A fertile testing ground for our experiments.
Lobotomite? Oh no, my skull houses the brain of Mobius.
That is the most insane thing I've ever heard. There's no way Mobius would condescend to step inside you. Besides, there's no way such a thing could be accomplished. It's impossible.
I think it's impossible for science, missiles, lasers, atoms, brainwaves, all under my command.
You speak the truth. And the decibel variation in your voice, it is Mobius. How dare you breach the think tank? And what do you want here?
Yeah, I'll offer you a deal. Stay here, stay put, and I'll let you live.
That's no deal at all. There's a whole world beyond the crater, filled with ideas and possibilities. We could have escaped, seen it all for ourselves, tested it, prodded at it, made it squirm.
I want you to do this for me.
Partner with you? My foe? My rival? My foremost critic? I have a strange sensation that I would like that. How odd. Very well, partner. The think tank is at your service as long as you do not destroy us. As it had been in the years before the Great War, Big Mountain, the Big Empty, became home to one of the brightest minds of the 23rd century. The Courier watched over the Big Empty for years to come, caring for it and keeping its discoveries safe until they were needed to help others. Which had always been Big Mountain's purpose. Past the laboratories and science, it had always been intended as a place to build the future of all mankind.
The Courier had scoured much of the Big Empty, although secrets still remained in the crater's depths. Perhaps that was for the best, however. Curiosity, while sometimes rewarded for its efforts, often proves to be equally dangerous.
Dr. Mobius continued his research undisturbed in the Forbidden Zone. As much as he had attempted to create better scorpions, he tried the same with humanity, with considerably less success. These failures didn't bother him overmuch. Once the rush of mentats wore off, he forgot he had failed in any event. After all, the bright young mind who had come to visit him in the Forbidden Zone had already exceeded his expectations.
The sink atop the dome bustled with the voices of a small town, constantly chirping, arguing, and snarling at each other. Still, this all happened productively in the interests of its new owner. The Sync Central Intelligence Unit discovered, despite its inversion code, it was comforted by the sense of community the other personalities gave it.
The Biological Research Station, obsessed with seeding everything in sight, requested a transfer to the X-22 Botanical Garden, so that it might, in its own words, sensually fertilize the garden's smooth contours. The garden sent back a polite refusal, saying it had prior commitments with a vault it had helped infect before the war.
The book chute continued to devour all seditious materials until it nearly choked on a paperclip. It adamantly maintained it was a Chinese paperclip, and the whole thing had been an elaborately orchestrated assassination attempt. Whatever the reason, it slowed down for a while, carefully appraising each document and clipboard that came to it.
The light switches continued to bicker and flicker.
This persisted until the day someone dropped a flashlight in the sink, and the two of them united in their hatred of the showboat.
Nice.
The sink continued to ruthlessly scrub any particulate matter that came near it. Eventually, it gained access to the magneto-hydraulics plant and nearly flooded all the Big Empty in an attempt to scrub the crater clean.
Huh.
Once it learned of the innovative toxins plant, however, it gained new purpose. It sought to develop antitoxins to flush into its drains and counteract the poisons bleeding into the soil.
The toaster continued its psychotic spree, reducing all appliances in range to scrap electronics and spare parts. After one of its more psychotic episodes, however, the other Sync personalities decided enough was enough and dumped the toaster in a bathtub. Sparking and hissing, the toaster swore its enemies would rue the day when they had bread and no way to toast it.
Muggy did his best to collect coffee cups, although in his quest, he accidentally trapped himself in Higgs Village. It might have been the end for poor Muggy. Except, he found it peaceful there, tidying up the kitchens of the think tank professors back when they had been flesh and bone. Well, except for Dr. O, who was an asshole for having created Muggy in the first place. Muggy left O's house deliberately dirty, punishing the dishes and cups that lived there in blind revenge for serving Dr. O.
Blind old Jefferson, with sounds the Courier brought him, created a symphonic counter-frequency that saved Big Mountain from sonic invasion in 2910. If you didn't hear about it, good. It was rumored by the other personalities that he had a brief fling with the light switches. Although he forgot their names much too often and was soon left in the dark as punishment.
Autodoc, always gentle and methodical, kept sewing up the Courier in all the right places when the skin split open from repeated wear and tear. The Autodoc was just glad to have purpose again. It heard its simpler brothers and sisters who got shipped to the Sierra Madre bored out of their skulls in that toxic, dead city. In time, the Autodoc found a way to deactivate the Y-17 trauma harnesses, releasing the corpses they had held prisoner for almost 200 years.
As the Courier ran through the X8 facility multiple times, the computers analyzed the test subject's movements. Rather than performing a superficial observation, they realized the subject barely knew what communism was, or even what a high school was. This confused them for a time, until the facility finally realized that its research had succeeded. So it let its cyber dogs out into the wastes to help protect small communities from physical aggression rather than communist propaganda.
The infiltration program in X-13 felt spent, having repeatedly upgraded the stealth suit until it could upgrade it no more. It felt warm, fulfilled, and a bit sluggish. It realized not long after, the stealth suit had left it, without so much as a note on the nightstand. So the infiltration program sent out robo-brains into the wastes, looking for its wayward technology. It eventually found Repcon HQ, and set up a new research center, testing and murdering fiends who kept breaking into the facility.
The Courier, organs intact, continued onwards, a little less heavy of step, but with all the organs in the right places, as they should be. After all, brains can develop a life of their own when left to their own thoughts, and the Courier's brain was more clever than most.
Dr. Klein and the think tank remained alive, unaware of the world outside. They looped through their daily routine, none the wiser about the world beyond, although perhaps wiser was the wrong word. The world outside belonged to the Courier, and if anyone would shape it, well, the Courier had already called dibs.
There is an expression in the wasteland, old world blues.
It refers to those so obsessed with the past they can't see the present, much less the future, for what it is.
They stare into the what was, eyes like pilot lights, guttering and spent, as the realities of their world continue on around them.
Science is a long, steady progression into the future. What may seem a sudden event often isn't felt for years, even centuries to come.
In the times following the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, however, old world blues took on a new meaning.
Where once it was viewed as a form of sadness, nostalgia, it became an expression describing the potential for the future.
It can be easy to see science as evil, technology unchecked as the source of all ills, all misfortunes.
With the Courier at the helm, science became a beacon for the future. There was old world blues, and new world hope. And hope ruled the day at Big Mountain.
We could say more, but the stories in the Big Empty speak for themselves. Now armed with the transportal Ponder, the Courier could return to the dome at any time and crack open the secrets of the Big Empty one by one. The Sync sat vigilant, waiting for its master to return, shoes covered in Mojave dust. Only one road yet remained, and it was one the Courier had to walk alone.
What's the brandless burger? Alright, your body is similar advanced technologies remain. It still cannot be crippled. You are only 10% resistant to addiction. Surprisingly, your damage result has improved by 10%. You Rocky Mountain Transport upon us. It will transport you and you alone to the Mojave Wasteland Big Empty. Return Mojave, simply equip the transport ponder as you would a weapon, pull the trigger, and away you'll go. Won't work in interiors or in combat situations. Pulling it will harm your enemies.
Soon, pitiful worms. Soon I will rule, and your lives will...
Alright guys, that's been a very productive, nearly 5-hour stream. I will thank you for watching Old World Blues. Follow me on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, all those places. Have an awesome time wherever you are. Bye bye for now.